Hello everybody, we've got a new challenge against Mr. Homotopy. Not sure what this means, but I'll just stick with thinking that there is nothing kind of uneducational about his name. So we have the main line, or one of the main lines, of the Rossolimo Sicilian. Yes, he plays a6. Now let's drop to a4. Yeah, this is one of those lines in the Sicilian which are very reminiscent of the Rui Lopez, only that black does not have this pawn on e5 yet, but he's going to have it there quite soon, I believe. So he plays bishop to g4. Okay, let's do h3. And g6. Okay. Basically, we have a typical plan for black. He wants to play bishop g7 and to try to put pressure on this diagonal. For me, it's actually nice that I didn't play the pawn my d4 yet, because at some positions the pawn might be under attack. Now my pawn structure is a bit more solid, so I can calmly develop my pieces. Yeah, the queen is kind of misplaced on f3. It's really the square of the knight. Let's play queen e2. Knight e7, very solid. Trying to open up this diagonal for the black bishop. So let's play knight f3. In general, I feel like black's position is very solid. There is nothing particularly wrong about it. He should have equal chances or very close to it, even though white has the two bishops advantage. Now this move b4 followed by a5, I'm not too sure about it, because with weakening these light squares in this position, and I do hold the advantage of the two bishops, so I think I'll play bishop a4 right now, trying to do something on the light squares. Queen c7. Yeah, that makes sense. Now I've actually wanted to make a move like rook to c1, trying to line up the rook against his queen. Perhaps it would benefit me at some point. Yeah, let's do rook c1. And now at some point this file might be opened, whether I take on d4 or whether I push in the center. Either way, there would be some exchanges. I believe placing my rook there would benefit me. So he plays rook b8. Now I really want to push with d4. I think like this is the good moment to do so, now that he cannot actually take on d4 twice because all of those troubles along the c file. Basically, I hold the two bishops advantage, so I'm definitely not too unhappy about exchanging some pawns and opening up some lines for my bishops mainly. So I think now black should play very carefully. Maybe a move like queen b6 is making some sense, trying to step out of this line of the rook, so there wouldn't be any tactics there. This makes sense. Queen b7 also makes some sense with some similar ideas. Even though, having said that, I still believe black should be quite solid here. I don't think white holds any serious advantage, at least yet. Let's see. Can black take on c3? Well, it definitely can, but question is whether can he penetrate. But he just decided to develop his rook to c8, which makes me wonder a bit because he's not actually threatening anything. So what I might do is just to take this brief moment to improve my position, to place my bishop on e3. This is nice because now the bishop protects the pawn on d4, also exerts some pressure on the c5 pawn, and now the queen is covering my pawn on b2. So there are no weaknesses in my position. This is something that I like about my position. Even though black might claim also the same, but he does have weaknesses on his light squares in general. Yeah, so yeah, he decided to take on c3. Now it would be very interesting actually to consider rook takes if this is working. But it's kind of too smart to be true. I should just go with b takes c3. Now the rook on b8 is quite active right now, but there are really no special entry points for his rook. It's all covered by my pawns and pieces, so nothing really there. Let's see what else can he do, because I think the opening up of the b file, if black will not do anything special to take advantage of it, I might be the one eventually who will use this file. So knight b6 was played, attacking my bishop. Now I want to play my bishop to b5. I don't really want to exchange on c6. One of my main kind of advantages in this position is the fact that I hold the two bishops advantage. This is why I really don't want to give up the bishop so easily on c6. Perhaps he is thinking about playing a move like knight a7, once again trying to get my bishop on b5. But I can always play my bishop on a6, attacking his rook on c8. So I don't see too much reason why this should work in particular. And I'm also threatening to take on c5 right now, followed by bishop takes c5. Yeah, so knight a7 was played. Now I'll play bishop a6. Once again, not giving up the bishop too easily. Now rook d8. Now I believe I have some pleasant choice in this position. I can take on c5, trying to do some damage to his pawn structure. Seems nice. I also just might consider keeping the tension, improving my position a bit. His next move might be something like knight to a4, trying to, nope, trying to penetrate with the rook here, maybe exert some pressure against the opponent's c3. So that's why I'm considering playing a move like queen to c2, either right now or after taking on c5, trying to cover this square. Let's do it immediately, trying to keep the pressure kind of for the longest. Even though d takes c5 is also quite tempting because it opens up my bishop. It also opens up his bishop and his rook. It's always tough decisions. Okay, let's go with queen c2. We'll see what happens. What also is nice about the move queen c2 that whenever my bishop is in danger, I can always drop it along this diagonal. So there should never be any danger for this bishop. He might consider trying to trap me with c4, but I don't think this will work out too well for him because I always have this move a4, giving my bishop an anchor on the b5 square, so there is really shouldn't be too much worries for this guy. Perhaps his best, he has to do something about his knights, the one on b6 and the one on a7. They both seems kind of unimpressive. So he decided to play queen c6, perhaps thinking about some discovered attacks versus my bishop, but also preparing knight a4. So I would say a good move by my opponent. Definitely an interesting concept. I'm wondering if now it's a good time to take on c5 once again, because now I also have this move bishop f4, hitting this rook with a tempo. This is something I could not do before. So extra options which kind of popped up at this move. It's kind of tempting to go for it. Okay, time is running a bit low. Let's go for this. Now bishop f4. The thing is that this rook doesn't really have any good squares. He has to retreat to a8 perhaps. Obviously not a very good square for this rook. Now after the rook will move, I'll have some support, some control over the e5 square, so a move like knight e5 will become an idea probably. Once again, I think black's position is still very much fine. It's mainly a question of whether can he make his knights on b6 and a7 more influential. This is really what's going to decide how black, or how good or bad black's position is. So he's taking his time to think, which is interesting because I thought his move is kind of forced, but perhaps he's planning to sacrifice some material in order to try to seize the initiative, which is also kind of brave concept, so perhaps he's trying to consider a move like knight to a4, kind of insisting on his idea, putting pressure against this pawn and attacking the bishop on a6. Yeah. So he's thinking for a long time. So this is I'm quite happy to see it, because I believe we will reach the time trouble quite soon, and being with a 1 minute advantage in such a scenario is quite pleasant. So we shall see. Yeah, rook e8 was played eventually, but only after thinking for a very long time about it. Now I think the key move for me here is rook to b1. So, yeah, so I'll probably play it. So what's the point is that now, whenever this knight moves from b6, I have this tactic bishop b7, which at least wins the exchange on a8. And also what is nice about this move, that if he tries to move his knight from a7 and to attack my bishop, this rook from b1 also supports my bishop on b5. So I feel like this is a nice move. Now my bishop is very safe, I believe. The tactics should work in my favor. But I also, of course, might miss something, so this is, I think, quite a critical position for him. Yeah, knight a4, so he goes for this sacrifice. Okay, now I kind of, I accept the challenge. Let me go for this. Queen f6. I didn't really think about this move. Well, I did think about this move a couple of moves ago, but isn't it just bad? First of all, this knight is now hanging. Also, my bishop is hanging, but I have this intermediate move, bishop e5, which I believe we probably missed. Now, almost every one of his pieces are hanging, and he's actually going to lose quite, yeah. He resigned because he's about to lose a lot of material. Yeah, this was a very tragic end for this game, but I must say that after rook b1, this move that I managed to find, I kind of like white's position, and yeah, even the computer considers the position to be over +1 advantage to white. So yeah, I believe that was a very solid game. Basically, black was, I believe, kind of fine throughout this a bit short game, 28 moves, but he kind of insisted too much about playing very active moves and just failed to spot the tactics. So yeah, he was punished kind of severely. This move, queen f6, was already a very bad blunder. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the game. Don't forget to subscribe and leave some comments below. I'll definitely check them out and try to take them into considerations, all of your requests. So thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.